Hey guys, I am Shawn Johnson East, and in honor of this month's NICU Awareness Month and ahead of Pregnancy and Infant Loss Remembrance Month in October, today we're going to share stories about how March of Dimes community and resources have supported our families when things didn't go as planned. So, in doing that, we're going to do a little fireside chat with myself and Lauren. Is it Lauren LaRosa?
Yes, it is.
Wonderful. It's great to see you.
It is great to see you too. It's amazing to finally be able to talk to you, an Olympic gold medalist. Wow, it's just so inspiring.
Thank
But I
you.
did hear that you had a rough start, kind of. Um, you had an APGAR score of 0.
I
How was
did.
that for your parents?
I did. So my story was kind of crazy. My mom went through kind of a rough kind of pregnancy journey. She had a hard time getting pregnant and then ended up losing a pregnancy at 5 months before I was born. It was another little girl and then they ended up waiting many, many years because they kind of lost their hope as far as like fertility went. They got pregnant with me at 32. They had been married for 16 years. Yes, they got married at 16. Um,
Wow.
and I just kind of had struggles from the beginning. My mom ended up having gestational diabetes. I had a couple of like health scares in pregnancy. I ended up trying to come very, very preterm, around like the 28, 29 week mark. They were able to kind of like calm me down and chill me out. But then I ended up being born with the umbilical cord wrapped around my neck, where I was pronounced at birth, and I was then given the APGAR score of 0. They kind of told my parents that my future didn't look great. I lived in an incubator at the hospital for a few months. My parents kind of learned that hospital lifestyle firsthand. But long story short, I think I turned out okay.
Yes.
I did all right. But it was very hard for my parents. It was very traumatizing. And I think having that community within March of Dimes and the hospital and just having people to really support them in many different ways and kind of give them that community and support they needed for their hope and for their future was really, really important. And I think that's how they managed to get through it. And I hear with you. So wait, you're studying to become a NICU nurse right now.
Yes, I am.
That's incredible. Also, one of the most amazing jobs in the world and hardest jobs. Um, Tell me about that passion and what kind of sparked that. Because I feel like we have similar
Yeah.
stories.
Yes. So I was born 3 months early. I was born at 26 weeks and I weighed 1 pound 7 ounces. I was in the hospital for 89 days. It was a really long journey for my family and for me. And then after that, I went home and was on oxygen for 15 months and went through multiple different therapies and everything. But throughout it all, throughout my entire life, I have always heard of the good things that came out of my experience in the NICU and just how blessed I was and how blessed my family was to have such a great support community around me and around my family, whether that be through March of Dimes or through the nurses or the doctors or any of the healthcare heroes that were there. They were just always there to support me and my family. And it truly was just inspiring for me to be able to hear all those stories growing up. And I always knew that I was being called back to the NICU in some way to give back that same love and all that support that I received. I just knew that that was where I needed to be. And so always knew I wanted to go into healthcare, and then kind of throughout high school was just trying to decide what I wanted to do, and I really liked the idea of being at the bedside and being with those babies and those families right there caring for them. And so that kind of led me into my passion of nursing. And now here I am in my junior year of college and enjoying it all and can't wait till I can finally be there in the NICU as a NICU nurse.
And do you have babies yourself?
No, I
Not
do
yet.
not.
Okay. I wanted to
No,
make sure
no.
before I said this. What you're doing is absolutely incredible, and being able to be a NICU nurse is incredible. But someday, if you become a mama firsthand, you learn my life was changed. Like me personally, with my babies, being able to
Mhm.
meet my nurses and truly having that confidence within the nurses that take care of you and your babies. is life-changing. So I just wanna thank you as a mama firsthand, because being a NICU nurse is very hard. You see so many babies struggling to live and struggling with so many different complications, but it's your love for them that gives them their fighting chance, which is awesome. Um,
Yes.
I am curious though, in going through that process, how did March of Dimes support you and your family?
Yeah, so they were pretty much there from the very beginning. They started with the NICU Family Support Program in late 2001, and I was born in early 2002, so it was just getting started. Um, and they had a family support program coordinator that was in the unit. She was there every single day, and she would be there to check in on my family. She would give intro classes, like, to the NICU to be able to, "This is what's gonna happen, this is how the NICU works, and these are the people that work in the NICU," kind of just getting you used to the environment that your baby's gonna be in, and then also connecting us with different resources, different families that had the same stories as mine or were going through the same thing, and that was just really helpful, especially for my mom to be
Mm,
able to know that there's other people out there that understand what she's going through and can be there as that form of support. I think that's just really, really important and really necessary. And so March of Dimes just was able to provide all of these things so that my family just had a good sense of community to
mhm.
fall back on, which was just it was amazing.
I think the hardest part, have from my experience personally with my 2 babies and then my mom's experience, I think the hardest part about going through anything like that is the isolating factor. When you feel like you're the only one and you're alone and you don't have anybody there, I think, 1, having those, like, specialists who come in and talk to you and educate you and connect you as a community, 1, just makes you feel a little bit like you're less alone, and
Mhm.
2, it empowers you with so much information that makes things not feel so scary and, like, hopeless, I guess. And I truly feel like something that I learned with my nurses firsthand is having someone who walks in the room with confidence to say, "You know what? I've seen this. It's okay. Like, I'm gonna hold your hand through it, and I'm gonna help you in every way, shape, or form." Having that support can truly, like, give you just a different outcome, which is incredible.
Yes, I agree, I agree. I I heard that you suffered from a loss too as well, and I'm so sorry that you went through with that. How was your family there to support you? How was the community there to support you? I know we've been talking a lot about support,
Mhm.
so I just wanted to get your feedback on that.
It was honestly like everything we've just been talking about. It was the community factor. When I had my miscarriage, it was just this feeling at first of like loss and defeat to a certain extent. I didn't know how to move on from it because I felt like it was my fault and I didn't have enough education behind me to understand the why. And so I placed all that blame on myself. And when my family and my friends kind of like came into the picture to support me and my doctors and just everybody, having that community around me to kind of drown out the negative voices, and to kind of support me and lift me up and give me more optimism and positivity to think about really helped. And I think March of Dimes does a very similar, if not the same exact thing, and kind of acting as your support system. They act as your family and they walk side by side with you. And it's not necessarily like people need to say anything, but you just need to have people around you, which is what helped. Um, so for me, like healing, I healed through community, which helped me. And we could we need like a tally for how many times we're gonna say community and support in this, because
I
that is
know.
really that's what it's all about.
It
Um,
is, it is. I think that's what March of Dimes it gives that sense of community with what you're just saying, and the hospital, it can be very isolating. I mean, there's just so many families who just they don't have that, they don't have people that they can lean back on, they don't have people that necessarily understand, and so I think that March of Dimes does provide that community and does provide, like, "Hey, I'm here. I do understand what you're going through. I wanna help you. What's the best way I can help you?" I think it's the best thing that a NICU can have, really.
Now that you are studying to be a NICU nurse, I wanna call you a NICU nurse already. Um, with your experience and knowledge of having been in the NICU and your family and now studying for it, what is the best piece of advice you could give to a family who's going through that roller coaster of living in the ICU and having to, whether it's for a day, an hour, or months at a time? What would you say to them?
Yeah, I think I would say, it's it's a difficult time. It's a hard time, and I'm not gonna deny that this is probably the hardest moments that you're going through in your life, but kind of going back to that sense of community, there's always gonna be someone there that you can lean back on for support. There's gonna be someone there that is going to love on you and is gonna love on your baby and love on your family and just give you everything that you need in those moments, and I think that that is just truly helpful for someone. And I also think that you need to go into every day and no matter what type of day it is, good or bad or something in between, just think of all the little moments, think of the little milestones, those small things that you're working towards every day that your baby is getting better at, or just something new that is happening. I think you just need to focus on a good, strong sense of community, but also focusing on those little things as well.
I have a little story for you really quick. Since you're going to be a NICU nurse, one of my best friends, she actually gave birth to twins at
Mhm.
26 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Those babies lived in the NICU for almost 4 months, and we had
Mhm.
their first birthday the other day, and the NICU nurses, their NICU nurses were actually there. They were the first ones to show up.
That's
They're
amazing.
best friends. They are attached to that family, and they are part of their family now, and I think it just is a true testament to the bond that is formed with NICU nurses in the NICU with
Yeah,
the families that are there.
yeah, that's incredible. I actually have a similar story to that. Um, my when I was born, we had 2 nurses that lived in our neighborhood that we were in. One of them was right next door, and she actually worked in the NICU and was my primary nurse in the NICU.
Mhm.
And so when I was home, I was able to have literally someone right next door at all times that was able to kind of understand me more than maybe what my mom would about all the things that were going on with the NICU. So it's I mean, again, speaking on that sense of community, it's just amazing how those NICU nurses can just provide so much love, even outside of the NICU. It's incredible.
It truly can.
Yes. I personally love following you on social media. Your kids are so cute. The video that you posted the other day of Drew jumping on the trampoline, I was like, "Oh, that's so adorable." Um,
Mhm.
what advice do you have to families who are expecting a baby or have a baby in the NICU or just going through loss right now?
Hmm. Um, I don't know. It's so hard. It's so hard to find the right words because I feel like with each individual, words are different. Um, to anybody who's experiencing that grief and is experiencing loss to a certain extent of any kind, I would say rack up our tally. You need to pull in a close community of people around you and you need to lean on them because I just feel like nothing good happens when you're alone, especially when you're going through hard times of your life. And it could even be hard times like trying to get pregnant, trying to have a baby, going through anything like that. You need to have a very strong community around you, whether it's your parents or your friends or a mentor or a pastor. So, whoever it is, you need to have someone you can lean on because there are some times where those negative thoughts creep in or things just seem dark that you need someone to tell you it's going to be okay. No matter how this turns out, it'll be okay and we'll get through it.
Yeah, I agree. Community is just it's so special. It really is.
Yes. Um, I also hear you're a little bit of a celebrity as well.
Yes, a little
Starring in the
bit.
March of Dimes campaign for their last annual Giving Day, your parents must have been so proud for like the full circle moment. I remember when I first told my mom that I think this was like 5 years ago that I was working back with March of Dimes. I think she almost started crying. She was like, "No way." Um, to a certain extent, I think it brought back up all of the experiences, but it made her so happy and proud. So
Mhm.
how did your family respond to that?
My family was so excited. I remember when I got the email about it and told them, my mom was just she was thrilled. She could not wait. She was getting out all of my old baby clothes and little journals that she had made and everything. And it was an amazing experience. It truly was. I am not used to having cameras around me all the time. So having a film crew come into my house was definitely daunting, but it was so much fun. The crew was amazing. They made the entire thing so special. And I remember getting the email then a couple months later that they had like finally edited the video and they sent me the final version. And I was sitting in my car and I watched it for the first time and literally started tearing up. Like I was like, oh,
Um,
I can't believe that they're able to share my story and put it in this way and it looked incredible. It was another way that I could be able to share, myself, and I really liked that. I really liked the idea of just being able to impact others and being able to get my story out there and show it in a new way.
and for such a good cause, truly.
Yes.
March
Yes, I
Dimes
know.
is they do so many incredible things, and their sole mission is just to be there and be supportive and to help you through your journey, and I just yeah, we're both testaments to their hope and their help, their support, which I love.
Yes. Speaking of when you said you were working with March Times again, I know that you and your husband recently joined the Celebrity Council for March of Dimes. Can you speak a little bit more on what that was like and how you feel that you want to give back to March of Dimes?
Um, I think similar to your story, it's just this sense of pride and of gratefulness to what they gave to my mom and my dad. Um, as a mom myself now, I couldn't imagine going through very traumatic and hard experiences alone and having people like March of Dimes to hold your hand through every step of the way and helping you find resources for your particular journey, I think is very, very important. And what they do is very important. And so my husband and I, it was a no-brainer to be a part of March of Dimes in any way, shape, or form and helping them as far as like being ambassadors and just telling the whole world about them because if it weren't for them, my mom and dad would have had a very hard time and just paying it forward, you know. Similar, I it's not nearly as cool as being a NICU nurse, and paying it forward with March Times that way, but I really believe, like, it's the least I can do is to help them in the way that they helped our family and hopefully tell more families about them because they're a resource that's incredible. I do have a couple of, like, statistics that I wanted to share, but also to
Yeah.
everybody that will be watching, just different ways that you can share your stories as well. So with the support from the hospital partners across the country, March Times does reach about 50,000 families a year through their in-person and online programs, complimentary resources, which is incredible. It's incredible, but you think about that, it's sad, 50,000 families that are needing those extra resources and support, and I can't imagine what, like, the full number is that they're trying to reach. But the NICU Family Support Program, which offers family education, staff training, and on patient-centered care, and improved patient experiences with the support of March Dimes experts and NICUs across the US. Um, if you guys have any NICU stories or any stories that you want to share, you can share your story at share.marchofdimes.org. There is a remembrance wall. There are March Times Facebook groups, unspoken stories that you can find all on March Times website. But truly, if you guys haven't checked out the March Times website, they're truly there to help you, to support you, to hold your hand through every step of the way. So, Lauren, it is great to talk to you. How long do you have left in your program?
2 more years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are
Mhm.
you in hospitals yet?
I am actually. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's scary. I've
Mhm.
been working a few 12-hour shifts, so, getting used to that.
Yes.
But yeah, I've been enjoying it so far.
Loving on all those babies. Well, to
Yeah.
you and to March of Dimes, thank you, and, it was great talking to you.
Thank you. It was great talking with you, Shawn.